Hi everyone! Today I'm inviting you to join me on an exciting journey as I transform a cartoon character into a realistic person. I'll be drawing Carl Fredricksen, the beloved grandpa from the movie Up, on my iPad using Procreate. Our goal is to imagine how Carl would look if he were a real person. Let's get started. As always, the first step in creating a portrait is sketching the shape of the head. I always begin by outlining the general shape. This is the foundation that sets the proportions and guides the next steps. In Carl's case, his face has distinct features. It's slightly elongated with a broad forehead and a strong chin. I use simple shapes to build the base, and I gradually refine them until I'm happy with the result. Next, I move on to the hair. Carl's hair is gray and a bit tousled, as you'd expect from an elderly person. It's important to capture the texture, keeping it slightly messy while adding volume and light. I work with several layers to give his hair thickness and realism. Step 1. Applying skin tones. Now we begin adding color. The first thing to focus on is the skin tone. I start by selecting the right shades, and for Carl it's a mix of brown with light pink undertones. His skin shows his age, so I try to convey the subtle variations in color: warmer, lighter areas on his cheeks and chin, and darker shadows around his eyes. The base skin tones are applied with soft brushes to maintain the natural texture of the face. Detailing begins with the eyebrows. Carl's eyebrows are thick and sharp, which gives his face a stern, somewhat grumpy look. I use dark colors to give them definition, adding highlights to make them look three-dimensional. Step 2. Glasses and eyes. Carl's glasses are an essential part of his look, so I pay close attention to their shape and details. The round frames and thick lenses create a striking effect. First, I sketch out the frame, refining the shape and adding small highlights on the glass to show its transparency. Then I add the shadows cast by the glasses on his nose and around his eyes. Next come the eyes. It's crucial to find the right shape and expression to convey emotion. I begin by sketching the basic shape of the eyes and drawing the whites, gradually adding the folds of the eyelids. The whites of the eyes are never purely white, so I mute them slightly with grayish tones. After that, I paint the irises using darker shades for contrast. Gradually, I add shadows under the eyebrows to give the eyes depth. The detailing of the eyes is one of the key moments, since the eyes convey the character's personality. I refine them, adding highlights and fine lines to give the eyes a realistic shine and depth. This helps express Carl's wisdom and gentleness despite his gruff exterior. Step 3. Nose and nasolabial folds. Carl's nose is another important part of his look. I draw it starting with a base of light pink tones, adding lighter and darker areas to give it volume. It's essential to highlight the nostrils and their shadows to make the nose appear realistic. Gradually, I refine the shape, adding shadows and detailing the nostrils for a natural look. Next, I draw the nasolabial folds. These are the lines that run from the nose to the corners of the mouth, adding depth and making the face look more aged and lifelike. The shadows cast by the glasses also play a significant role in realism, so I carefully sketch them, making sure they look soft and natural. Step 4. Lips and chin. Now, let's move on to the lips. I start by filling them with a single color, usually a light pink. Then I darken the corners of the lips and add light wrinkles to give them texture and volume. Even though Carl is an older man, his lips retain their shape, so it's important not to overdo the details while keeping them looking natural. Carl's chin is large and has a pinkish tone. I pay close attention to the shadows and lighter areas to show its volume. Using lighter shades on the most protruding parts helps create a sense of depth. This gives the face completeness and realism. Step 5. Final details and finishing touches. Once the main elements of the face are done, I start working on the small details. I refine the texture of the skin, add wrinkles, and include small imperfections that are typical for older people. It's important to render each detail in a way that looks natural without overwhelming the face. And now, my favorite part, adding highlights. These tiny spots of light really bring the face to life. They add volume and brightness, making the image more vivid and realistic. I apply highlights to the eyes, nose, and lips to emphasize the brightest and most protruding areas of the face. Advantages of drawing on the iPad. Now let's talk a bit about the drawing process on the iPad. Procreate is an incredibly flexible and powerful tool for artists. It allows me to work easily with colors, layers, and textures. One of the best things about drawing on the iPad is that I can customize my brushes for each part of the drawing, from soft shadows to fine details. My brushes are the result of lots of experimentation and tweaking, and they help me achieve the effects I want quickly and efficiently. The drawing process on the iPad is very intuitive, and with the stylus I feel total control over the artwork. One of Procreate's strengths is its ability to handle multiple layers, allowing me to adjust every element of the drawing flexibly without losing quality. Conclusion. So, step by step, Carl Fredricksen has transformed from a cartoon character into a realistic person. I've tried to capture his character, age, and life experience through the details and shadows. I hope you enjoyed watching this process and learned something new. How do you think it turned out? Does Carl look like a real person now? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. And remember, the most important thing in drawing is practice and enjoying the process. Don't be afraid to experiment and find your own approach. Drawing on the iPad with Procreate is a fantastic way to improve and create stunning artwork. See you next time.